My name's Ben Gochberg, and it's about 8 o'clock in the morning on a rainy Thursday, and I'm here to tell you that your life can be a masterpiece. A handful of years ago, I had the chance to go to a party at the home of Peggy and Jesse Horton. Many people here in the area know the Hortons because they own a gallery up in Beaver Creek, and most know the Hortons because of their father, Walt Horton. Walt was a very famous bronze sculptor, did a lot of local works here in the area that are still very popular today, and Jesse, his son, has taken up the cause, manages the business now, and is a very talented sculptor in his own right. So at this party, I had the privilege of walking into Jesse's private studio for a second, and immediately on walking in this massive room, the first thing you notice is this giant clay sculpture in process. When you do a bronze, you start with a big piece of clay, and then you put a mold on it, and then you cast it. There's this whole massive labor-intensive process. But as I looked around the room, what stuck out to me more were the tools, and specifically the size and shape of all the different tools in the room that Jesse had to use to make this elaborate sculpture. You gain a massive appreciation for the amount of work it takes to do something beautiful and the time required to do it. Anyway, I think our lives are a lot like doing a bronze. They're a lot like a massive piece of clay. In the beginning, you just get a giant block. And most of us, when we're born, we're just this giant, malleable, untouched block of clay. And over the years, as we grow up, we start to have things happen to us, start to have people interact with us that influence how we turn out, our shape, our size, the way our character is molded. And what I want to point out to people is that we, more often than not, are influenced by a variety of people that have the ability to shape us on a daily basis. So you get up in the morning, and right away you might have a significant other who shapes your day. Maybe this is a spouse, or a boyfriend, or a girlfriend, or maybe it's a sibling, or maybe it's a parent. But these experiences, when you wake up first thing in the morning, start to have an effect not only on your day, but long term, what you start to become as a person. So you get up, you have some breakfast, you go to work. Now you're at work, and at work you interact with other people. You have a boss, you have coworkers. These folks also have an influence over your life and start to shape you. And much like a sculptor takes a hammer and chisel, or someone who's working on clay takes a tool to take away some of the clay, all these people on a daily basis have tools in their hands, and different sizes of tools that will eventually influence you and influence what you become as a person. What you've got to realize is that you have way more control than you possibly think about the types of people that influence you and the size of the tools that you give them to allow them to shape your life. For instance, let's say that that you have, like most people, some positive influences in your life, but you also have some negative ones as well. Well, for most folks, we make the mistake of spending too much time with the wrong people. There's an old rule I go by. I don't remember where I read it, but it's called the 30% rule. It says that you should be spending 30% of your time with 3 different groups of people, and almost no time with a 4th group. Now, those 3 groups of people are as follows. First of all, you need to spend about 30% of your time with people that are ahead of you in the process, people that you look up to, people that can mentor you. The second group that you need to spend 30% of your time with are people that are on your same level, peers, people that can be your friends. And the third group are people that look up to you, people that you can teach and that you can help. Now, the fourth group is where most people screw up their time management, People spend a lot of time with other folks that don't contribute to their life or influence them negatively. And unfortunately, this can be family. This can be people that you've called friends for years and years and years. It can be people that you work with. It can be an environment. Those situations, if you're aware of them, you can start to change them so you're spending time with the right people. Now, anyway, I say all that because I want to point out that by the time most people are 30 or 35 years old, you've started to chip away from this clay block. Okay, you've taken away a lot of the outside edges. You've started to form what your sculpture will be for your life and for yourself. But what happens after you have that initial shape? See, in the beginning, you could use really big tools. You could use saws, you could use big lathes, chisels. I don't know if you use chisels on clay sculpture or not, but you use these big tools to take away big chunks of clay. But as the structure gets formed and as you go further on, you realize that you have to use smaller and smaller tools to create smaller and smaller refinements for who you are as a person and for what you want to be. I relate this to self-discipline. Most people will plateau on what they want to become and the type of person they want to be. They will plateau their skill set. They will plateau the amount of effort that they're putting forth after a certain period of time, or after achieving a certain level of skill in anything. Most people will never achieve mastery in most of the things that they attempt to do. And what's crazy is they don't have to. In fact, most human beings will go through their lives without ever getting truly good at anything. They'll just be kind of good at a lot of things. They'll pay the bills with a lot of things. But I want you to imagine what would happen if you gave your small chisels, the smallest refinements, the tools that you need to refine yourself the most. What if you gave those to the right people? And what if bit by bit you slowly refined yourself, your processes, down to the smallest, most minute detail? When you do that, that's when you truly become a masterpiece. That's when your life starts to have real beauty. After all, it's the small refinements on a sculpture, the smallest pieces of clay that are taken away, that eventually create the greatest beauty and demonstrate the most artistic ability. Those are my thoughts for this morning. Hope you have a good Thursday. We'll talk to you later.